Welcome back to Feel Better with Lauren. I'm Lauren. I'm a middle-aged guy. I'm a pretty big guy, 280 pounds, 6'5". When I was younger, I was super athletic. I could eat whatever I want, do whatever I want. Took it all for granted. Got a little bit older, had to work more, and I found that time started to go really, really quick. Looked in the mirror and felt older. Didn't like the way I looked, so spent time working out, putting shampoos in my hair, trying to get my hair to grow. Got older, and my back was always hurting. I wasn't so flexible, and I started to get anxiety and worry. People relied on me. I had responsibility. And it was that point a few years ago that I looked and said, how do I feel better? I don't mean all better. I just mean, how do I feel better? And that's what's led me here to find out that for me, if I get my body and my brain and my breath all working together as a basis, it helps me in every part of my life. So I invite you to join me here and we can feel better together. A lot of times I have themes or inspirations of what I'm to do today, and today is just about things that I like and things that I need for my body. A lot of it for me is about having flexibility in my spine and working on my core a little bit, but I don't like to overdo it, because if I do too much twisting with my spine, it feels good in the moment, and then later on I can really feel that I've overdone it. And so I don't ever want to do that, because that can sometimes hold you back. So I think still start at the back of your mat. Um, get a little bit of sun on our faces. Um, uh, actually, and just sort of sit. And if you're lucky enough to feel the ground around you, listen to everything around you, see how your body's feeling. I find like just moving, just a little tiny bit of moving and focusing on where you're moving can sort of tell you where you're sort of locked. They're just sort of moving around back and forth, almost just like, you know, like a a piece of grass in the wind. You move around, and when you do that, I can feel that my spine sort of stops me there a little bit. My head, I can move more to one side than the other. And once you've sort of figured out your body a little bit, you can feel where you're at. We just do 3 big breaths in through our nose and out through our mouth, just to get rid of some of that stale air that sits in your lungs. We all keep this sort of our lungs halfway full of air. If you replace that air, you immediately get an oxygen kick. It's that residual air in your lungs. So in through your nose, and then push out all that air all the way through your mouth. And in through your nose, and all the way out through your mouth. And in through your nose, and all the way out through your mouth. Now for the rest of this, we'll just keep breathing in and out through our mouth. It's with that restrained throat breathing called Ujjayi breathing. It's like you're fogging up a mirror, but with your mouth closed. And you're just sort of restraining your throat. Everything in and out through your nose. Let's sit here for a few moments. Now, what we'll do is go into what's called staff pose, and it's with a 90 degree as much as you can of your body and your feet. And just try to sit up straight with each inhale in. Feel yourself stretching, feel your legs sort of flattening a little bit. We're not pushing anything, but each inhale opens everything up, and each exhale relaxes everything down, almost like you're pulling like pizza dough. And then it relaxes. Now just shuffle forward and lie down on our back. And again, let's just starting off, we're looking to feel what's touching the ground, how it feels touching the ground. And I want you to pull your knees to your chest as much as you can, nice and tight. And you can feel how it changes you touching the ground like that. Now that same staff pose that we were doing before, we do it supine or lying down. And put your legs up to the sky and try to get a nice 90-degree angle here. I don't know if I've got it, but it feels like I've got it. And keep breathing in and out through your nose. You're engaging all your core here. And then I want you to, if you can, roll over to the left, keeping your 90-degree angle. Put your right arm to the other side, and just a gentle stretch. If you want to make this more gentle, you could bend your legs and look over your right shoulder if you can. And this should just feel gentle. We're not stretching anything, we're not pushing any pressure. We're just breathing into that. Each inhale in relaxes your body. Each exhale, you relax into your body. Now inhale again, and we can bring your legs back up to that staff pose. Support yourself. You could have bent your knees if you wanted. You could do however you want. Back to your staff pose, and as you can imagine, we're going to go over to the right side now. And put our legs straight out the other way. And again, a gentle stretch in your back. Now inhale, you're going to bring your legs back up. Bring them to your chest. Again, just give a squeeze in. That tends to uh, realign your back, or it does mine. Put your legs out straight again. And we're going to do what's called fish pose, which is go up on our elbows and on the back of our head. And you sort of push out with your elbows, and you're not really putting a lot of stress on your head, but you're stretching the top of your back. Last inhale in and back down, and then up onto your elbows and raise your hips off the ground. Just dig in with your heels. Okay, and put your hips back down again, and this time roll over onto your left and put your right arm into the air, and let's raise your hips off that way. If you want, you could lift your leg up. Just keep everything engaged, everything relaxed, but still engaged. And last inhale in, and drop back down, around, and roll to the other side. And your left arm to the sky. Like a string is pulling on your hips. And this time, Let's go over to forearm plank. Your elbows under your shoulders, your shoulder blades separated, and your hips about the same height as your shoulders. Still breathing in and out through your nose. One inhale in, and drop your hips, and you're in Sphinx pose. Your elbows underneath your shoulders. Keep your butt engaged so that it's easy on your back. If you're feeling it, you can push up to a seal version of this. Keep your shoulders away from your ears. Everything is relaxed at your head here. If you want to have a little bit more room to bend, you could separate your legs a little bit. One more inhale in and relax down. Your left arm goes at a 45-degree angle on your mat. Your right leg bends and you push up out of your shoulder on your left shoulder and you pull your heel to your butt just to the point where it feels like a nice stretch, but you can feel it stretching. And pushing up out of your shoulder will sort of give you this spiral pull. Now, as you get better, of course, your leg will go closer and you'll be able to move your arm around. I'm not there yet. One more inhale in and let go of your leg slowly down onto your mat. Shake out your hips. Your left arm goes straight away from you. Your right leg bent again. And we just stretch and twist here. If you want to make this easier, you can put your arm down beside your side, your left arm. Make it harder, you'd make it into a sort of cactus pose with your arm up. Mine's straight out. One more inhale in and roll back over. Arms in front. Shake out your hips again. Things should be loosening up rather than tightening up. Your right arm this time a 45-degree angle. Your left leg comes and you push out of on your elbow and you squeeze your leg back towards your quad as much as you want. But you don't have to you could do this half and just not hold your leg either. Even just going up on one elbow would be good. Again, nothing's tightening up. Things are just stretching. But don't forget to push out of your shoulder, out of your elbow. Last breath in. Slowly release your leg. Back down again. Shake out your hips a little bit. Your right arm, this arm goes around, your left leg bends, and you roll over. The other side now. Still breathing through your nose, nice and slow. One more inhale in, and then roll back onto your belly. And just shake out your hips again. Again, stopping anything from sort of cramping up or seizing up. Now your hands beside your shoulders, your knees out and your toes in, and we go through what's called frog back into child's pose, where our big toes are almost touching, our knees are apart, our hips are on our heels, and our forehead goes to the mat if it can. Maybe you're just up here like you're in a runner's pose. For me, I can go right down to my forehead, and I sort of stretch my arms forward. And the more I relax my hips onto my heels, the more that my back opens up and relaxes. And last inhale in, we're going to push ourselves up, our knees together and onto our toes to really stretch out the back of our feet. So our hands can pretty much stay where they are for a second while your feet get set up. And then put your hands right in front of you, the eyes of your arms facing forward, and your feet should be getting a relatively intense stretch there as your hips go onto your heels. Now hopefully you have a good intense feeling right now, not that it hurts, and we're just going to move back and forth with our breath to stretch our wrists, back and forth, moving with our breath like we're in slow motion. One more time. Now put your fingers are facing the sides of your mat. Your wrists are about a couple of inches apart. And we'll just go back and forth and around to stretch our wrists out a bit more. And each time we go back, we're getting more stretch on our toes. You can rotate the other direction and the other direction. Okay, now your fingers facing your knees. And again, hopefully you're feeling it in your feet. You're getting a nice stretch there. And here we just want to go back and forth and side to side a little bit. Obviously, there's a lot of leverage on your hands here, so we don't want to push too hard. You just want to keep feeling it. Okay, last inhale in. Let's just sit on our feet a little bit more. Hopefully, you're really feeling it in your feet. Right? And just shake out your hands a little bit more. I'm feeling it nice in my feet here. And we're going to go move forward into a tabletop, but we're going to stay on our toes this time. And we're going to do work on our core a little bit. So what we're going to do, where we'd usually do cow, which is drop your heels, when we still do cow on an inhale and an exhale. We push into cat, but we're going to raise our knees off the ground and stretch out nice and slow. And we'll just hold that for a little bit. And then drop your knees. Cow, hold it. Try to get your butt into the air and your head as high as you can into the air. Inhale and then exhale to cat with your knees off the ground just an inch. Inhale. Exhale to cow. And one last time into this cat. So inhale and exhale. Push away from the ground. Lift your knees into the air just a couple of inches. Separate your shoulder blades. Just a couple moments more, and then down. Walk your arms forward a little bit, and we'll do a high plank this time. Feet sort of shoulder width apart. Again, push away from that ground, feel some separation. You can move around a little tiny bit to find it where it is. Your hips should be the same height as your shoulders. And we're going to push back to downward dog. Keep your knees bent if that's where you like to be, to get a nice straight line between your wrists and your hips. You can pedal at your feet a little bit. Once everything's lined up, you can push and just stay in this downward dog for just a second. And straighten your legs if you can. Now we're going to do one wave through here, which as we wave, we go forward to plank, drop our hips to an upward dog, go forward to that push-up, back up to plank, and then back to downward dog. So inhale to plank, drop your hips to upward dog on your toes, forward to that push-up to the plank, back to downward dog, right leg to the air, as high as you can, nice straight arm, keep yourself straight, up onto your left toes, bring your right leg to your right armpit, hold that there for a moment, and then we're going to step through to a lizard lunge, which is our foot outside of our hands, and just ease into that stretch there. Again, I like to let my knee fall open so I can go down slower. Maybe you want to stay there and just drop your body a little bit, however you feel. And get a little stillness here, just breathe into this. Let your hips adjust, and you'll find you can suddenly just relax into this more. And now, with your back left leg, you're going to bring it up to your right foot, and we'll twist again. So from here, your left arm goes to the air, your right arm back, actually the slows, and then hook whatever you can around your right leg, and just twist. So each inhale in, your head goes up to the sky a little bit. That creates some space, and you can naturally get a bit more twist. And last inhale in, exhale, both your hands go inside your right foot, your left foot goes back to that lizard lunge, your right foot goes back to that plank, downward dog, and we're going to do that wave once more through. So inhale to plank, to upward dog, to a push up the plank, and then downward dog. This time your left leg to the sky. Three-legged dog, nice and straight. Try to keep everything squared up and straight. Up on your right toe, your left leg goes to your armpit and you hold it there for a sec. Push the ground away, separate your shoulder blades, and slow as you can, your left leg goes outside, and your lizard lunge on this side. Again, maybe your knee falls open. If you sit there for a moment, let your body adjust. Sometimes your joints find where they want to actually be for opening up like this. And then you find some sort of relaxation. Inhale and bring your right leg forward to your left. Left arm behind you, your right arm to the air. And it twists around the other way. And in each inhale, your spine expands. Your exhale, maybe you naturally twist in a little bit more. And last big inhale. And exhale, come back, plant your hands down. Your right leg goes back. You're back to that lizard lunge. Everything's moved in a little bit. Back to that plank. And back to downward dog. We'll do that wave once more. So inhale to plank. Drop your hips to upward dog. Forward to push up. Up to a plank. And back to downward dog. Then from here, you could walk or float or jump to the front of the mat into that yogi squat with your feet shoulder width apart, your triceps just inside. You can make that little prayer pose. Try to keep your back as straight as possible. You can roll out your wrists. It's giving me a little bit of a wrist workout. And then from here, put your hands down and raise your hips to the air on an inhale. Standing up, exhale. Inhale, your arms go above you and your hips kick out. You get that sun on your face. Into this prayer. Up and sink back down into that squat. We're just going to do it once more, just in a sort of real rhythmic way. So hands plant, like inhale, exhale as you come up, inhale, your arms overhead, your hips kick out, exhale to that prayer, inhale above your head, and exhale back down to the squat. Now this time, hands in front, and we'll just go into a forward fold and push up to the forward fold and just stay there for a second. And again, my fave is gorilla, where you sort of stand on your feet, and that helps with your fold. And you slowly keep your legs stretched. Just relax there. Interlace your hands behind your back. Do the seal version of this forward fold. And then inhale, let your hands fall down, controlled. And then we're going to just squat down and back onto our back to reverse tabletop. Your feet and your hands are facing the same direction. You push up out of your heels, engage your core, engage your pelvis. Just push up. You can move a little bit to make sure your joints have landed where they want to. Your head can stay up. It's still relaxed. You can have it hang back if you'd prefer. Keep your hips up though. Good for your pelvic floor. Then inhale and exhale. Hands and feet stay where they are, but your hips sink down to your heels. And then your elbows sink down. Then inhale. Stretch forward. Exhale. Sink in. Inhale. Sun on your chest. Exhale. Sink in. Inhale. Your hands and everything. Reach them forward as far as they can just to stretch out. And slowly roll back into a happy baby, which is grabbing onto the sides of your feet, right? Or you can grab onto the back of your thighs or your knees or your shins. And we're just going to move around a little bit here. Straighten one leg, straighten the other, straighten them both. And then once you've got that, I find your joints sort of find it, they sort of settle themselves. And you can then just go into a normal happy baby and let your hips sort of fall open, your knees going under your armpits, or at least they feel like they do. Sit here for a few moments. For a lot of this, I've got my eyes closed. It's that relaxing. You can move with the wind. And then your right leg over your left knee, your arms through that hole that you've created, and grab onto your left shin. Keep your both of your feet flexed. Lean to your left a little bit and try to pull your knee to your chest as much as you can. If you can't grab your shin, you can grab underneath your thigh. You could grab your foot. The key point here is keeping, especially your right foot, keep it nice and flexed, and that keeps your knee lined up, because you don't want to be putting side stress on your knee. You want to feel this in your hip. As you pull up, you'll feel it on your outside right hip and on your hip itself, but you don't want to be pulling on your knee. And from here, keep this in that figure four lock position. We roll again for our last little bit of hips of back stretching, keeping in this figure four. Gently push your right foot, your right knee away, and your right arm goes directly out. You can feel that on your right hip and your right side of your body. Nice and gently though. There's leverage here that we don't want to screw around with. And relax into this. Last breath in. Bring everything back up. Squeeze your knees into your chest. That sort of lines everything up again. And then left leg over your right knee. Reach through and grab that. And you'll find one's stretchier than the other. And again, keep your left leg flexed. Just roll a little bit over to your right. You don't want to be pushing pressure on your knee. And then last one, we roll to our right, keeping this figure four. Your left leg goes flat to the ground, your left arm goes behind you, and you're just gently pushing your knee away. Last breath in. knees come back up. Once again, a squeeze into your chest. Your feet go down. And we do one more push up to bridge pose. Tuck your shoulder blades beneath you and really push up from your heels. Push up with your pelvis. You get a good stretch in the front here. Your butt is nice and engaged. And your head is not engaged and your chin's not engaged. You've got a good bit of space between your chin and your chest. This is all in this core, and it's the core that you don't necessarily use very much. Last breath in, you go up on your toes, your arms above your head, and then as slow as you can, drop your back down to the ground. Knees to your chest, squeeze and hold them. And then legs out to the corner of that space. Tuck your shoulder blades underneath, put the palms of your hand up to the sky. Your legs sort of naturally fall open. And you can lie here in what we call corpse's pose. Let your breathing return to normal, however that is. And at the end of this, take a couple minutes here, sit up and just sit cross-legged and do whatever version of your meditation is just for a minute, or 5 or 10 or whatever you want. More is better, sure. But lie here, sit for a few moments, focus, sort of check in with your body, see how you feel, see how things are looser, see how things are resisting. Sort of mentally say, hey, just stay relaxed. Let yourself be cool. And we'll see you in the next video.
Always talk to your healthcare professional before starting a new regime. If you experience pain, discomfort, or dizziness, slow down or stop. These videos will become easier each day, but if it doesn't feel right today, go slower or move to another video. Listen to your body.